Hello, everybody. Welcome back in to another edition of Prime Sports World, coming to you on a Sunday with another edition of the crossover. We're bringing you guys a lot of NBA content lately, so hope you guys have been enjoying that. We're going to be checking in with the conference finals as we had Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals yesterday. We got Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals tonight. I will be dropping the StreamYard link if you guys want to join us and talk some NBA action. I'll drop the StreamYard link into the chat. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. And if you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you can come and join us on all the places and check us out. We are Prime Sports World in all the places but Twitter, except for we are PSW_David. If you want to check us out on the Twitter, just keep an eye out for that StreamYard link. If you guys want to join us with a little bit of NBA conversation, please feel free to join me. TJ, how are you, buddy?
Sir.
What's up, man? What's the good word?
Look sore. Remember when I broke my ankle? So every time most of the time when I wake up in the morning, I gotta get it, gotta get it started before I can get started.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here, rotating the ankle and, getting it going. But other than that, no issues. From what I can tell, it's pretty chilly outside, and
it's 6 degrees and mostly sunny. I will take that.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I will take that. I think I can handle that kind of weather. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And as I was complaining about, I was doing some first world complaining before we started this show. I was doing some serious first world complaining, because I passed out before I was able to put my phone in the charger last night, so I wasn't able to charge it while I sleep. So now my phone's all dead, and it's not like I have to maintain it all day. You know what I mean? I have to throw it on the charger for a few minutes here, a few minutes there, try to get that battery boost as opposed to having it charged as soon as I wake up. But that is some serious first world problem. But let's talk a little NBA action. Let's talk about the conference finals. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. Because we are Chicago Bulls fans, so we'll start in the conference that we care about a little bit more. The Heat are up 2-1 on the number 2 seed Boston Celtics. Kyle Lowry turned in the Game 3 victory for the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler injured during that same game, but not expected to miss any additional time and not expected to be serious. He shouldn't miss Game 4. Miami outscored Boston 33-9 in points off turnovers in Game 3 in a game that was settled by 6 points. Tatum has been outplayed by Jimmy Butler so far in this series. Game 1 and Game 2 were blowout victories for the Heat and Celtics, respectively. So what happens from here? What do we expect to be? What happens from this series moving forward? Also, Jason Tatum was slightly banged up in Game number 3, along with Marcus Smart. Both of those players returned to the action, so don't expect them to miss any additional time.
Yeah, well, I watched most of that game. Well, not most. I watched all of that game last night, and it tells me that, if Jimmy Butler, first off, the final score does not indicate how bad it was, right? The game was not that close.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But Boston made it interesting towards this down the stretch at the end there.
It took an injury and 2 Paul Pierce, wannabe specials, like them getting hurt and coming back, jogging back out of the tunnel, and the crowd going crazy for them to make it interesting. Going into the half, you were down 15, and Celtics fans thought that was a win. Something tells me if Jimmy Butler comes back for the remainder of the game, it doesn't get, quote unquote, as close as it was.
Well, I 100% agree with you on that. I think if Jimmy Butler had been able to return to this game, it would have been curtains.
Bam got off to a great start. Bam scored 16 at half. He had more points in the first half of Game 3 than he had for the whole game of Game 2 or something like that. Yeah,
I mean, Bam was awesome in this game.
Bam was he finished with 31. I mean, the last 2 was a garbage time dunk, just to emphasize this is over. So he had 31. I forgot what else he had. I think he had 10 rebounds or something like that.
I'll pull it up right now.
But Kyle Lowry being back, that was huge. He
10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, a block. Man, he filled up the stat sheet.
Yeah. He was
15 to 22 from the field too.
Yeah, he was great, and that's the Bam Adebayo that the Heat have been, waiting on for this series. Like that's like yeah, Robert Williams is good defensively, but he shouldn't be able to stop Bam Adebayo from getting where he wants on the court. Same thing with Al Horford, and Robert Williams is getting to that 2019 Joel Embiid status where it's like, dude, it's every other game something's up with you. What is the issue? Right? Like
Well,
you miss games.
I think it's gonna be he's gonna need some sort of scope surgery at the end of the season,
Then
probably.
I'd rather. I mean, I get it. You're trying to tough it out. You're trying to be there for your team and play. But I'd rather you get that and be done than have it as like, hey man, you playing this game or are you out this game? Like just out one game, play the next game, out the next game. Like that's trash, right? And like and I'm putting that on the Celtics as an organization to like save him from himself. Like, all right, like we can't keep doing this. You miss one game, you play the next game just for you to be out the next game. Right? You can't keep doing that. The real hero, well, the real MVPs of these games, of Game 3, is obviously Bam Adebayo for the 31 points and carrying them to the win after you find out Jimmy Butler is not playing no more at half. And the defense Victor Oladipo played on Jaylen Brown. Like, yeah, Jaylen Brown scored 40, but when Jaylen Brown was guarded by Oladipo, it was hell. It was Clemson.
Seven turnovers. He's a one assist to 7 turnovers in game number 3.
Yeah, it was hell. Like Victor Oladipo played great individual defense on Jaylen Brown when he asked to. Like, yeah, it was hell. Like it was Clemson. It was not good. It was not a good time for Jaylen Brown when he was guarded by Oladipo. Again, we get he scored 40, but most like 90% of that wasn't on Victor Oladipo. I'm just putting that out there.
So you want to hear some crazy turnover numbers, right? So Boston has 20. They've turned over the ball over 24 times in this game, right? There are 48 minutes in a basketball game. That means that Boston Celtics threw the basketball away on average every other minute in this game.
19. Miami Heat had 19 steals. 19.
Yeah,
as a team, they had 19 steals. Right, like you can.
They also had 29 pass deflections in this game.
So if they didn't steal the ball, they got their hands on it.
19 steals, 29 deflections. Victor Oladipo played 8 deflections in those 20 minutes. Victor Oladipo had 8 deflections in 20 minutes of play.
And those 20 minutes was all in the second half. He didn't play a minute in the first half.
Yeah, to play 20 minutes.
He played 20 minutes all in the second half.
So the Boston Celtics made 310 passes in this game. I'm pulling this site from what is this website? It looks like it's just SB Nation. It's a Boston Celtics website.
Okay.
Celtics made 310 passes during this game. That means Miami had 1 deflection on every 10 Boston passes in this game.
That is crazy. So like yeah, when we did this preview, like my thing was your thing was Jason Tatum can't be outplayed or drew even with Jimmy Butler, right? Like Jason Tatum's the best player in this series, right? Hands down, right? It's not even close. Well, I ain't gonna say not even close. Like, when I say not even close, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But Jason Tatum's the best player in this series, right?
Yeah.
That was your thing. Jason Tatum cannot be outplayed or drew even with Jimmy Butler. Meaning Jimmy Butler, if Jason Tatum scores 40, Jimmy Butler can't be right behind him with 35. Right, like that's like meaning if Jason Tatum scores 40, Jimmy Butler has to have like half of that. That's a win for Jason Tatum. My thing was Jaylen Brown can't let Jimmy Butler do it on his own. I mean, Jason Tatum do it by himself, and you kind of saw that, game 1, the Heat just ran away with it. Game 2, more of a collective effort. Last night, Jason Tatum didn't step up. Right, like I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is, but Jaylen Brown scoring 40 cannot be matched with Jason Tatum scoring 10.
Yeah, 3 for 14 from the field. Probably one of his worst playoff games ever.
Yeah, like I mean
that doesn't include the 6 turnovers as well.
Like that can't happen. So I'm interested to see what game four brings. Right, like I'm tired of these caveats. You know, like Heat fans. Well, Heat fans ain't got no caveat. Like they got their ass blown out in game two. It is what it is. But game one, you know, no Smart, no Horford, and that allows Celtics fans like we ain't have them. We ain't have Smart. We ain't have Horford. We ain't have Robert Williams. Then you get them game two, you win. Game three, you don't have Robert Williams, but and at one point you were down 21 after the first quarter. So what's the excuse this time?
And not to mention, yeah, I mean, we're harping on the turnover thing, but this is like they just played sloppy basketball last night, like sloppy basketball. Like, you can't turn it over 24 times in a playoff game. You can't give up 33-9 in points off turnover differential. Like, you just can't have it. You can't have it in a playoff game. That's how you choke games away. Like the game was only a 6-point game. They outscored you by 24 points in just points off turnovers alone. If you cut those turnovers in half, you win this game.
And on top, like you turned the ball over a lot, but you doubled their free throw attempts. At one point, it was a 20. You were up 27-5 in free throw attempts. Boston had shot 27 free throws to the Heat's 5. It finished 30-14. That's because those were garbage. And the only reason that he got 14 free throws is because those were garbage time free throws of the Celtics trying to extend the game. So yeah, you can say Boston fans can say like, yeah, we don't turn the ball over, we win, but you doubled their free throw attempts, which means you were the aggressor. Either you were more aggressive or the refs just favored your aggression a little bit more, because we saw clips of I've seen clips of Jimmy driving to the basket, getting bumped and not getting the call. I literally saw a play where Bam was posting up Grant Williams. Grant Williams swiped down, hit his hand, then hit the ball, hit Bam. Like, you could hear the smack through the TV. Ime Udoka challenged the call and won the challenge. Like, any other ref, that's a foul. Like, I swear to God, like, because it was initially called a foul. Mark Jackson talking about some that's all ball. Like, bro, like, what are you talking about? He clearly hit his hand. He smacked the hell out of his hand and then hit the ball. So, Boston, stop. And one more thing. Between these two teams, I am so, especially these two, because you haven't heard it in the Mavs Warriors series. I am like, we've had two blowouts in this series so far, right? Game one was a blowout. Game two was a blowout, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I hear one more player for either one of these teams say they came out aggressive and we didn't know how to respond, if I hear that one more time as an answer, I'm gonna fly to these respective cities and I'm gonna smack every last one of them. What the hell you mean you didn't know how to respond? You know who you playing. You know how they play. At this stage of the game, you know exactly what to expect. Stop with this. We didn't know how to respond nonsense. That is that is a cop out. That is a trash. That's just trash. You know who you're playing. You know who's on the other side. You know what sets they want to run. You know what they're looking for.
Not to mention you've played them 4 times in the regular season on top of already playing them 3 times in the playoffs. Like, you know exactly what's going to be coming to you.
The Heat blew them out game one. Oh, they were aggressive. We couldn't match it. We didn't know how to respond. The Heat get blown out in game two. Bam Adebayo. Oh, they were aggressive. We didn't know how to match it. We didn't know how to respond. Like, what are you talking about? What are you like? It's the same team. It's the same game.
That feels like one of those nonsense answers that you just give when you're just like, hey, when you don't want to say, hey, we got smoked out there today. Like, I almost would rather, like, yeah, they outplayed us and they played better than us. Like, oh, they came out aggressive. We didn't know how to respond. That just feels like one of those answers people give when they want to try to save face. You know?
Yeah, I'm tired of that. And your counter response to that is, we just gotta be more aggressive. Well, duh.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So What does Boston need to do to turn this series around? Because now they've kind of lost home. They've lost the home field situation.
Home court.
Making Game 4 kind of a must win. What would you say Boston needs to do? And what if you're Miami? What do you think Miami needs to do in order to take this back to 3-1, going to Miami, looking to close out in Game 5
Well,
for both teams?
yeah, and absolutely. Like one of my big pet peeves is teams that get up big, they play with their food, right? Like if they lose a game, it's like, all right, we got the next game. Like, no, I don't sense that with this Miami Heat team. If they get up 3-1, right? If they get up 3-1, yeah, they are looking to close this out.
Especially if they have Jimmy Butler, a healthy Jimmy Butler in Game 4 and 5. Look for this because the players, your team kind of takes on the personality of the best player on the team, and Jimmy Butler's got that kind of killer instinct in him. So I think if they have an opportunity to close the series out early, especially if they look like they're going out west, where that series could be over quicker than maybe most people expected. You got to be at Miami. It's like, yeah, we got to wrap this up quick so we can get some time off before the finals start.
Excuse me, and if you're a Boston, well, you already know how Game 4 is going to go, right? Boston's going to come out. Excuse me again. Boston's going to come out. They're going to try to punch him in the mouth, right? They're going to try to get that. They're going to try to get the Garden rocking early. They're going to try to take the Miami Heat out of it super early. Like what they should have did, like how they should have came out in Game 3, just match the energy. Like Miami Heat, like they did a great job of getting that crowd out of it early because, like, every fan base is a front-running fan base, right? Like, when your team's up big, that's when you want to stick out. That's when you want to walk, like, stick your chest out, be a little louder than usual.
Ask Phoenix Suns fans.
Like, that's when you want to stick your chest out. But Celtics fans, when Jimmy Butler was on that court whooping y'all ass, y'all was kind of quiet, right? Like, it took an injury for y'all to get loud. First off, that's sad. That's despicable, honestly. I'm not saying you were cheering for the injury, but it took an injury for y'all to get loud.
Yeah, but we know how Boston fans are. I mean,
oh absolutely. And if you're a Boston fan, you offended by that statement, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't. So if you're if I definitely look for Jason Tatum Jason Tatum might get 10 shots in the first 5 minutes of Game 4, man. Like, he might come out gunning.
I mean, if I'm Boston, I'm going to go out with my best player having, live or die by the Jason Tatum. If he's going to carry us to the finals, let him shoot until his heart content. He can't take 13 shots or 3 or 14 shots in this game. I don't even care if his percentages are low. I want him to be shooting over 20 shots in this game.
And I'm not playing on Robert Williams. Like, I get it. Like, he's crucial to what that team does, but
he was ruled out entirely for Game 3.
But see, that's the thing. Like, if again you missed Game 1, you played Game 2, you missed Game 3. So if the pattern continues, you're probably gonna play Game 4, which to me, like, no. Like, if you
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to, like, basically swap them out every other night. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot. You don't build up continuity that way.
And if I'm Boston, like, we got through Milwaukee without them, right? Milwaukee has way more bigs than the Heat have, and we were fine. Like, yeah, it went 7, but we held our own. Right? Like, now, Al Horford, where's that energy, bro? Like, you can't just have that energy for Giannis. Like that's you got to have that energy all the time, bro.
I mean, he had 20 and 14 last night. I mean, with 3 blocks and 3 assists. I mean, Al Horford had a pretty good game. He had of all the starters outside of Jason Tatum, he had the best plus or minus. So.
And what was it? +5?
-7, actually.
-7. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Al. Come on, Al.
But he's been. I mean, he wasn't good at all in game 2, but he was coming off of being cleared for the protocol. So. But he was pretty good last night. 20 points, 14 rebounds. That's kind of what you want out of Al Horford.
Which I think with the protocol thing, like, not even gonna get into that. I
Yeah,
mean, I could.
that's a conversation for an absolute
I,
another time.
I could, but I'm sure that Al got both vaccine shots, and
Yeah, that's why
I
that's
get
why
it.
you didn't have to miss that much time.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
if you're Boston, Jason Tatum's got to shoot the basketball more. You can't turn it over 24 times in the next game. You just got to take more care of the basketball. It has to be a more concerted effort to make good decisions with the basketball.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum, yeah, you have to play better in game 4. Like,
On the Miami Heat standpoint, Tyler Hero got to get better, right? Like you got folks on Facebook and Twitter calling Tyler Hero overrated, all this other nonsense. They got
yeah, he's not. He hasn't had a good playoffs in general, but yeah, he struggled mightily last night. 4 for 15 for 8 points, 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. It's not ideal.
and it's it's one of those things like they love you when the shot falling, they hate you when the shot's not falling. But that is the game of basketball, right? Like that's you also got to keep in mind Tyler Hero is what year 3.
Yeah, he's like 22 years old, like so he's gonna be a streaky player. Like,
like come on, man, like I don't hear none of this. Like Jimmy Butler was an animal in game 1, right? He was an animal in game 1. He was not that same animal in game 2, right? Like do basketball fans hate Jimmy Butler any less for no. Right, that is basketball, right?
yeah, that's just the way. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you're gonna make some
goes.
shots. Moving on to the West now. Warriors are up 2 games to nothing on the number 4 Dallas Mavericks. Game 3 of that series is tonight. I think it starts at 7:00 East Central Time. Maybe 8:00 Central Standard Time. Warriors blew out Dallas in Game 1, so we're not gonna really talk a whole lot about Game 1. Game 2, Dallas built up a 19-point lead in Game 2, only to see it erased by the Warriors within the third and fourth quarter. Jordan Poole and Kevon Looney have been essential for the series so far. Jordan Poole has a plus 40 when he's on the floor. Warriors are basically forcing Luka to create and facilitate everything for the Dallas Mavericks. Warriors limited Mavs wide open threes in the second half of Game 2. And Draymond Green's on and off court antics during this series. We can talk about that towards the back end of this conversation, but do you think Dallas can bounce back from what was a devastating loss in Game 2? A game that you got to win. Like, if you're going to win this series, the Game 2 is a game you have to win.
Yeah, with this team, yeah, but again, the worst thing you can do is, as a basketball fan, is be a prisoner of the moment. Like, at the end of the day, all Golden State did was what they're supposed to do, which was win the 2 games at home. Right? Like, that's what they're supposed. Like, you're supposed to hold serve at home. Right? Like, the Warriors for 3.5 quarters. Like I'm gonna get really 2 quarters off. So yeah, you're right. That once they stopped turning the ball over, it was a different story. But it was also a different story when those Mavericks players that was hitting shots in the first half, they stopped hitting those. They stopped hitting the same shots. The only one who kept hitting shots was Luka and Jalen Brunson. Brunson had 30.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm the Warriors, is okay. Yeah. Like all I gotta do is worry about Brunson and Luka. Okay, I like my chances. Finney Smith, like if I leave you open 10 times, you only hit 3 of them. I'll live with that. Reggie Bullock, if you have enough energy to get some shots up on offense, again, if I leave you open 10 times, you hit 3 of them. I'll live with that. Same thing with Cleaver. Same thing with Bertans. Right? I'll live with that. Golden State, what I will say, they can't keep playing. They can't keep playing around because one of these days they gonna get down too big and they ain't gonna come back.
Yeah, especially this series is now shifting over to Dallas. Like Dallas, all of those role players on the Dallas Mavericks need to play better. When they're at home. The Dorian Finney-Smith of the world, Reggie Bullocks of the world, Devin Bertans, Spencer Dinwiddie, who hasn't been good at all in the series for the first 2 games. And Maxi Kleber. This team is essentially playing 6 guys because Dwight Powell's only playing 8 games in the series. He doesn't really have a role.
8 minutes.
Yeah, and so like they're
No,
basically
like,
playing 6 guys for the entire
and,
of this series.
and we saw the young dude. We saw the young dude. What's his name? Jalen Green. We saw him get some minutes in game 2, mostly defensively,
I mean,
right? Like,
he only played 5 minutes. He took 1 shot. He
yeah.
had
So
1
like
rebound.
he's really out there just to spell some defensive minutes for whoever is guarding either Steph or Clay.
Same thing with
Just,
Frank Ntilikina as well.
yeah. Like, hey, bro, like, hey, Bullock need a breather. Just go out there, just play
Man,
the best defense you can. That's
Frank
it.
Ntilikina was only in the game for 4 minutes. He has a -10 plus or minus.
Like, those
That's
are
rough.
just those those are what I call breather minutes, right? Like my key guys need a breather, right? Because the minutes, like, it's a quick one, like it's a breather, like 4 to 5 minutes. Collect yourself, get some water, get back out there.
But you make a really good point. A lot of people get caught up in the moment. Like all that actually did happen here is the Golden State did what they were supposed to do. They won their 2 games at home. Like Dallas, now this series shift back over to Dallas. They have the same opportunity to take their 2 home games and have this series be completely even after four games. But
yeah,
I think the way you lose a game like that, where you have a 19-point win, 19-point lead, things are all going in your direction, and then all of a sudden there was a major shift there in the third quarter, and where Golden State outscored Dallas 25-13 in the third quarter, they outscored Dallas 43-32 in the fourth quarter, and there were just possessions there where, like, Dallas just had no answer for Golden State for the switching. Klay Thompson's getting wide open dunks at the rim because they have no rim protection out there. And Jordan Poole, when they take off Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they let Jordan Poole just kind of create at will. The dude's been awesome in this series. Just being that secondary, that third playmaking option when everybody else is off the bench, he can facilitate and run their offense, and they don't lose a step. And Kevon Looney, 21 points and 12 rebounds, his first ever 20-point game in the playoffs or in the regular season. Shout out to Kevon Looney, who's been pretty awesome in the last couple of games of Golden State basketball.
Yeah, that just comes from Dallas not having a true big man out there to address that, which I can see it on the horizon, like that's coming. Like that is 100% coming. Like it wouldn't be Rudy Gobert because offensively you don't get that scoring option from Rudy Gobert, but I see something brewing down there in Big D. It's easy to they become super easy to defend when they stop making shots, right? Because all they really got to do is pack the paint. Because Luka Warriors forcing Luka to create and facilitate everything. That's what Luka's been doing, right? Like that's literally what that's the Mavericks. Like that is the Dallas Mavericks. Like that's.
I mean, yeah, Luka is going to be the straw that stirs that drink. Like, 42 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Did a good job at the free throw line in game number 2, 13-15.
Right.
That's somewhere he's struggled in so far in the playoffs. So
forget the straw that stirs the drink. He's the kitchen, right? He cooks the whole meal, right?
Yeah.
He's the stove, he's the stove, he's the refrigerator, he's the deep freezer, he's the sink that wash all the things. Like he's everything, right? Like so if I'm the Golden State Warriors and the minute those dudes stop hitting shots, yeah, I'm going back to that boxing one. I'm going back to that zone, and I'm forcing Luka to see 3 different people at all because he's getting past that first guy. Like he's gonna get past that first dude. Whoever's guarding, whoever's the on-ball defender on him, he's getting past you, right? Don't know how. Still don't know how.
Yeah, he's got that old man again. But he's just his moves are so subtle and just like you don't really expect it too much.
Right, he ain't fast. He ain't getting by you with blazing speed. It's a marvel to watch. It really is. But that's what it is. So like if I'm the Mavericks crew, like if I'm Jalen Brunson, if I'm Dinwiddie, I go home, get some home cooking, see the lady. I'm in my gym. I know my spots. I mean, I get that that's a facetious term, right? Every spot is the same spot on an NBA court, right? In the NBA arena, every spot's the same spot.
No, but
right?
I mean the ball dribbles off the wood differently in certain courts. I
But
mean,
yes, but every spot's the same spot. But your arena is your arena, right? Like there's a comfort, like there's a comfortability factor that plays into it, right? So yeah, like I said, like all Golden State, they do nothing special. They just held serve. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, all Dallas now has to do is, protect their home court. Do I think it's going to be difficult? Yeah, because I think look at this Golden State Warriors team as Izzy likes to point out in our group chat all the time. He thinks Golden State. He thinks it's over. Golden State's going to win the title.
He thinks it's over.
I think this series. I think it's still series has potential to go 7. Obviously, Game 3 is huge. If Dallas cannot win tonight, this series is a wrap. It'll be a sweep
or a gentleman sweep at best.
Yeah. So we'll see. Let's talk about Draymond Green. Moving on from the actual series to just one individual player. Draymond Green picked up a technical in the first quarter of game number 2. And then he proceeded to just be Draymond Green for the rest of the game, and he never picked up that second technical. I don't understand how he gets away with his annex on the floor. Like, he's literally in the face of officials all game long, and the officials don't give him a tech. Do you think it's something that maybe they don't want to be like, I don't want to give him the second technical and be responsible for this game being decided one way or the other, but something needs to happen with Draymond Green, because his ability to just get in the faces of referees after he already picked up a technical foul and not kick up a second technical foul is ridiculous to me. Like, I just watch him on the floor. I'm just like, dude, this guy should have like 85 technical fouls. Like, he yells at the face of the referees. He gets in their face. He yells at other players, and he doesn't pick up a technical foul. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
And Jeff Van Gundy brought that point up last night in the game, because I think who was it? Somebody from the Heat got a tech last night.
I'll pull it up.
Oh, who was it? It'll come to me. Like you said, you'll pull it up. But we had a similar incident. Well, not similar, but like we had an incident in that game too, where Kleber hits not Kleber. Bertans hits a corner 3, which should have been a 4-point play, because Damian Lee was all in his landing space. He hits the 3 in the corner. He gets and he falls down. Damian Lee tries to step over Bertans, and Bertans got up too quick, and Damian Lee got flipped, and he gets all up in Bertans' face yeah, and they both get double T's, and they're like, and Reggie Miller's like, how is that a double T? All Bertans tried to do was get up. Damian, if anything, it should have been a tech on Damian Lee, because he was the one who instigated the thing. He got in his face. And that was another instance, because the teams came together, and Draymond Green got in somebody else's face. Like, bro, there were literally, after the initial tech, like you said, there were literally 10 times, more than 10 times, where Draymond Green could have easily drawn a second technical foul. And the fact that he didn't is trash to me. Like, again, referees cannot talk about being shown up and all this other stuff when you allow stuff like that to happen. Because at that point, you're just asking for it. Like, you don't want to be shown up, but I'm showing you up, and you're not doing anything about it. So what do you expect to keep happening?
And I mean, I especially with he's like playing with fire. Like, I don't understand how he doesn't pick. He get ejected on every game. Like, he doesn't constantly gets in the face of people, yells at people. Like, all of those should be technical fouls by the letter of the rule. They should all be technical fouls. Like, you shouldn't. The officiating can't be different based on the fact that one team, you don't you don't want to be the one that decides the outcome of a game by ejecting somebody. But at some point, you should make it a statement as an official, like, hey, we're not going to tolerate being treated like this constantly, every game. And
it's not the refs trying to make a name for themselves. It's not the refs trying to make the game about them. No, by the rule, the rules, the rule book is the rule book for a reason, right? It shouldn't differentiate between game to game, referee crew to referee crew, right? It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be like, all right, well, I'm reffing this, so I'm gonna let you get away with a little bit more, but this game, it's a different referee crew. So what you got away with in game one, you're not going to be allowed to get away with in game two. No, that's trash. The rule book is the rule book for a reason. Like, why have the rule book if it's just going to differ from game to game and ref to ref?
I do think Draymond Green's going to get behind himself getting ejected one of these games in Dallas. But his the NBA should. I know the NBA. There's not much the NBA can do because he hasn't really done anything. But like the NBA should be like, hey, Draymond, like, cool it. Like you mentioned another thing. Like, no. Another thing that was semi interesting, like Draymond Green coming off the bench constantly, like all of those are like suspendable offenses.
Like, even if it's not an altercation, like the fact he leaves the designated area for the bench, like he's walking all up and down the side, like the baseline, like bro, like you can't do that. Like you can't do that. We literally saw the Phoenix Suns lose a series because two of their key guys they didn't do anything. They just stepped on the court. They didn't throw a punch against the San Antonio Spurs. They didn't say anything. The fact that they were on the bench and they put 2 feet into the court of play. That's why they were suspended. They didn't touch a soul.
But that was during an altercation though. Like so it was a little bit different.
It's not if you don't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, I still to this day say the NBA shouldn't have suspended them. That was a ridiculous. Poor Matt James.
So when you have a precedent, right, and that becomes the new standard, that's how you set yourself up. Like, all right, now this is how things are, right? Like this is how it is.
I think they should have done that in game two. Like they should in game two, like multiple instances where Draymond Green is in the face of officials, in the face of other players. Like I think that's when you should have set the precedent. Like, hey, if you continue to play like this and behave like this on the floor, you're going to get ejected every night. And the fact that he was able to stay in that game and be a contributor, hit those big threes down the stretch there that really sealed the game, or one of those big threes that really kind of sealed the game. He ended up fouling out, but he should have been fouling out way before that point.
Like he should have been going way before. Like every time a call goes against him, he slams the ball down, and it's like that's a tech.
Yeah, like that's for anybody else, that's probably a technical.
For anybody else, that's a tech. Like you slam the ball, you run all over the court, you shout, you wave your arms around, you turn into Steve Kerr. So review that challenge, like bro. Like first off, that's not players. Stop that. Stop telling your coach to challenge every goddamn thing, right? Because because I'm gonna go to you and be like, hey, are you 100% sure? Because if I lose this challenge, I'm not playing your ass the rest of the game. Like I swear, because we only get one for the game. Like even if I'm right, I don't get the challenge back, right? If I use this one challenge on this call, and if I'm wrong or right, that's it.
I would never challenge a call based on the fact that a player thinks that the call is wrong. Because of course the player thinks the call is wrong. Like they call against them. Yeah, of course they do. I would be like talking to my people who have like the front office people, like the people that watch video, like hey, is this worth the challenge or not? Like there's no way I'd go off the player. Like there's just zero chance.
Stop that. Like if you can't say what's it called like that, like I fully expect Draymond to get ejected from one of these 2 games in Dallas. Like it's just gonna happen. You cannot because the conversations we're having, I guarantee you, the officiating crews like they're having it. And again, you cannot allow. I don't care about player rep. I don't care. Like Draymond's gonna be in the hall. He has 3 rings. He has 2 DPOIs. He's been demonstrative.
One DPOI.
He has 1.
Yeah.
I thought he had 2. He has a DP. He's a former DP Defensive Player of the Year. He would have been a Finals MVP had he not, called LeBron a word so loud that the officiating crew was the head of the officiating crew was like he was in the building, like he was there. He said that so loud, like we kind of have to suspend you. Like you put us in that situation. You put us in that situation. Which, again, he's putting refs in that situation to be ejected, and they're just turning the other way, like, I don't
Yeah, how do you?
It's like they went out of their way to not eject him.
It's true. It's true. Like he was in there. Like he's like it pisses me off a little bit. Um, let's talk about the series again. What does Golden State need to do in order to wrap up this series in 4, and what does Dallas need to do to basically revitalize this series and take this back to Golden State at 2-2 tie?
Well, all right. So the Dallas standpoint, I'm gonna address that first. So if you're Dallas right now, woosah, just breathe. Keep that mentality of, all right, you know what they did. Like, yeah, we had game 2. We were right there. Like we couple more threes, couple more big stops. We put this game away. It's ours. We put the kids to bed. Like as Steph Curry likes to do when the Golden State Warriors like the front. Like that's another fan base team. They just love the front run, bro. It was quiet as a church mouse that first half, and then all of a sudden Steph Curry putting the kids to bed, in the second half. Like I need y'all to keep that. The one I will say this: you may hate him, you may hate him, but at least Draymond Green's energy is consistent and it's the same 100% of the time.
That's true.
I will give him that, right? Draymond Green talking trash 0-0. He talking trash when he down 20. He talking trash when he up 20.
It's true. It's true.
Right? I will give him that. Like Curry, it goes back to that. Like if you're that type of player, be that type of player. But Curry, you mean mugging and whatnot when you up 20. I don't see you doing that when you're down 20, bro. Like don't be who you ain't. So, but if you're the Dallas Mavericks, woosah, breathe. We got 2 games in our court now. We got a chance to tie this up, right? On the flip side, if you're Golden State, don't play with your food, right? Don't play with your food. Do not allow this to be 2-2 going back into Game 5 in San Francisco. Because if this is 2-2, now you're giving the Mavericks now their confidence is sky high.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, Mavericks are used to being down 2-0. I mean, they were down 2-0 to that Phoenix Suns series and ended up winning that series in 7. And one of the worst the Phoenix Suns rolled out one of the worst performances in a Game 7 in the history of the league.
Right, I don't if this goes 7. If this goes 7, all bets is off. Right, game plan, all bets is off.
And not to mention, we kind of talked about this a little bit, when we previewed the series. Dallas was playing with house money. Nobody thought Dallas would be at this point be in the Western Conference Finals.
Everybody had Phoenix, Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. Everybody. That's what everybody had Phoenix, Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. Everybody.
Actually, you remember when we did that single elimination show?
Mm-hmm.
Remember I had Dallas winning it all?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that'll end up working out. I should have went with that bet because I think I had Dallas beating Phoenix. It was like a single elimination stuff. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I mean, if you're Golden State, I mean, Golden State doesn't seem like, because of the championship pedigree, I think if they can feel the blood in the water because of the pedigree of that team, I think they're going to go for it. I think if you can, they won't play with their food. Like there won't be that scenario where they're like taking a game off or like, oh, we're up 2-0, it'll be fine. No, like they understand what it takes to win a title. More so than when the Phoenix Suns were last time. So,
and yeah. So
but yeah, we'll see. Game 3 of this series is tonight. So hopefully you get to enjoy that. I love the fact that there's a game every other night. Like there's literally a game every night right now. It just makes it really good enjoying. Like I got to watch every single night.
The only thing that irks me a little bit, and it's first world problems. It's only one game. I wish they was just more, because all this tells me is like, damn, we closer to the end than we are to the beginning.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like those first 2 rounds, those first 2 rounds, it was 3 games. It was 3 games every night, and it's like, yo, this is love.
And too bad the NBA had to drop the ball and put half those games on NBA TV. But whatever. So people can't even watch it.
No big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. But yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow yet, so stay tuned for Prime Sports World and Finals. See what we're going to be doing, rolling out tomorrow. I've been David Hupp, and right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, and they can stay away because I'm watching the USFL game right now. It's I think it's New Orleans and Pittsburgh. they just show the thermostat. It feels like 120 degrees on the field because they play all their games at that one stadium in Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets hot in Alabama, and
No, in Alabama it gets hot now. Never.
yeah, it feels like 120 degrees on the field, and I'm good. They can have that.
That league is probably like when you watch those games and you look at the stadiums,
Yeah,
they're very
I don't
empty.
I don't think they're at a point where they can like build stadiums for like each team, like in it
No, I
like
agree. I agree with
like
you. I agree with you.
like they're not at a stage where they want to travel. But I also think that they're not feeling the same. Like, dude, it's 120 degrees out there. It's hot.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
mean, yeah, that's why football's not played in the summer. But yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. This is Prime Sports World. Check us out in all the places: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We are Prime Sports World on all those places, but on Twitter, we are PSW_David. Please like, share, and subscribe. One like, one subscribe really helps us build this channel. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. We will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a good rest of your day and enjoy game number 3. That game starts at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So continue checking that stuff out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Peace out, brother.
yeah, man.